So hi friends, in this video we'll be seeing what's the minimum speed for starting a centrifugal pump. We have seen that a centrifugal pump is having a rotating part. That rotating part is known as the impeller. It should be having a minimum speed so that it can suck water, and that minimum speed is given by N minimum is equal to 120 multiplied by manometric efficiency multiplied by VW2, this is the world velocity at the exit, into the outer diameter, the whole divided by pi into d2 square minus d1 square. This is how it's been to calculate the minimum speed. You know that you're having a rotating impeller, and these are the vanes that you have. A centrifugal pump, it will be inside a volute casing. You have a volute casing like this. So the inside diameter, this inside diameter is d1, this outside diameter is called as d2, because in this case what happens is water will be coming from the interior, it will be coming out like this. It's radially outwards flow. So this is d1, this is d2. And at the exit it is having a whirl velocity. Whirl velocity means the horizontal velocity. At the exit you have, if I take any exit, this is the VR2, then you have U2 and everything, and when you resolve it, you will be having the V1 will be V2 can be resolved into horizontal component and vertical component. The horizontal component is VW2 and the vertical component is VF2, and you have to consider the horizontal component of velocity. That is how you calculate the minimum speed. Just remember that the impeller has to have a minimum rotation speed of this much. If the velocity is below that, what happens? Just assume that in your house you are switching on your pump. Just assume that the voltage is very less. If the voltage is very less, the speed with which it will be rotating will be very small. So when it is having a very small velocity, what happens? It won't be able to pump water. So that's the importance of this minimum speed. So next what we have to discuss is about the specific speed of the pump. We know that the actual pump, it will be rotating with a particular rotation. So it is rotating, then it will be delivering some quantity of discharge. So this is how it works. It will be working against some head, because initially what happens, because of the energy that the electricity or the motor is giving, it will be having some head or energy. Head or energy, both are same. So what happens when we provide this head, it will be rotating with a particular velocity or rotation, and it will be giving some discharge. Just assume that you have a similar, so this is the actual pump. Just assume that you have a model, the model of a pump. You have a model which is both kinematically similar, geometrically similar, and dynamically similar. This is a similar model, and what happens, this will be working against a head of 1 meter. It will be discharging 1 meter cube per second. Then what is the speed of this model? And that is called as the specific speed of a pump. So if you remember, in the case of turbine, we have some difference. Instead of having a discharge, it was giving out some power. That power has to be 1 unit. But in case of a pump, what happens? It's not the power that is coming out, it is a discharge that is coming out. So it is actually rotating at a particular speed. It is working against an actual head. It's giving an actual discharge. But when we consider a model, what happens? This model is taking in 1 meter of energy. It is giving 1 cubic or 1 meter cube per second of water. Then what is its corresponding speed? That speed is called as the specific speed of the pump. So when you find, you'll be getting the specific speed of the pump is given by N into root of Q divided by manometric head, the whole raised to 3 by 4. This is the equation. So when I say here H, it is the manometric head, nothing else. Always remember, it's always, most of the cases, manometric head is the most important thing in a pump. That is the total head against which the pump has to work. So that manometric head is the most important thing. So this is the equation to find the specific speed of a pump. Net positive suction head. Just think that this is your pump, and this is the sump from which you have to take water. and this is the suction pipe, and this is the delivery pipe. Now the height difference between the center of the pump to the sump, let this height be hs, and the velocity of flow through this pipe, let it be vs. This is the suction pipe, so that height difference, level difference is hs, and the velocity of flow through that pipe is vs. Now see, as the water is moving through the suction pipe, there will be some frictional losses in the pipe, isn't it? Because this is moving from this point to this point, so it is moving, as it is moving, there will be some frictional loss. Let that frictional loss be hf. Since it is in the suction pipe, I will be writing hf. So this is the frictional loss, or rather the head losses in suction pipe. Now, what does it mean by net positive suction head is that, see, we have seen that the pressure acting here will be atmospheric pressure, PA. We know that because it is exposed to atmosphere. Now, water will be always moving from high pressure to low pressure. Here, water is moving from here to here. Here, the pressure is atmospheric pressure. It means that the pressure inside the impeller has to be below atmospheric pressure. Then only you will be having high pressure here and low pressure here, because here it is atmospheric pressure. So here, to have a low pressure, this pressure has to be even below atmospheric pressure, and that pressure difference is called as the net positive suction head. So I can define net positive suction head as the net head required between these 2 points, so that water will be moving from the sump to the impeller. So that is the net head required by the pump, so that water will be moving from the sump to the impeller, and that is called as the net positive suction head, and that is represented as HSV, which is given by PA by gamma, the pressure, atmospheric pressure head, PA by gamma, minus HS, this height, plus HFS, this losses in suction, plus Vs square by 2G. V means the velocity in the suction pipe. This is the velocity head, V square by 2G. So Vs square by 2G minus PV by gamma, where PV is the vapor pressure of the liquid. Vapor pressure of the liquid. So this is the equation to find the net positive suction head in a pump. So it is given by PA by gamma. PA is the atmospheric pressure. This is the atmospheric pressure. PA by gamma minus HS plus HFS plus Vs square by 2G minus PV by gamma is the equation to find the net positive suction head. So from this I need to find the value for this suction head. HS is the suction head. HS is called as the suction lift, or rather this height is called as the suction lift. So if I rearrange this and find the value for HS, so I can write, so this will be minus, so this take to that side and take HSV to this side. So HS will be equal to PA minus PV by gamma minus HFS minus Vs square by 2G minus HSV, which is the net positive suction head. This is the equation to find the suction lift. Now we have to find the limiting value of suction lift. Limiting value of suction lift. So remember, while we consider the limiting value of suction lift, we'll be assuming this to be 0. That is, your NPSH is 0. If that's the case, the limiting value HS limit is given by PA minus PV by gamma minus HFS minus Vs square by 2G. Remember, PA is the atmospheric pressure, PV is the vapor pressure, HFS is the loss in suction pipe, Vs is the velocity in the suction pipe. So this is the limiting value of suction lift. And remember, this limiting value usually will be in the range of 7 to 8 meters for a centrifugal pump. So what happens if this is more than that? If your actual HS, if it is more than HS limit, That is, this has to be in the range of 7 to 8 meters. Generally this has to be, this limiting value should be in the range. This height should be in the range of 7 to 8 meters. What happens if it is more than that? If it is more than that, there's more chance of cavitation. There will be more chance for cavitation. We have already said about this cavitation in turbine case. We have discussed about cavitation. What does it mean by cavitation? We have all discussed that in detail. So remember, whenever your actual this height, this is called as the suction lift. How much height we have to suck it, or we have to provide suction. That's called as the suction lift. That suction lift, the minimum or rather the limiting value is this much. This is the equation for finding the limiting value. Generally, it will be in the range of 7 to 8 meters when we are using a single pump. And if the height is more than this limiting value, it leads to something called as cavitation. So just now we have seen that what causes cavitation. So we have seen that if your suction lift, the actual suction lift, it is more than the limiting suction lift, then of course that can lead to cavitation. That can of course lead to cavitation. We have seen that what does it mean by cavitation is that if the velocity is very high, what happens? The pressure will be going down. And if the pressure is even below the vapor pressure, when the actual pressure of the liquid is even below the vapor pressure of the liquid, what happens? It will start converting to gaseous form. So tiny bubbles will be formed. These tiny bubbles are highly unstable. Whenever it goes into a high pressure region, what happens? It will be bursting. As it bursts, what happens? It will be bursting along with the metals nearby. So that will be leading to something called as the cavitation. That's a huge problem for any hydraulic machine, whether it is turbine or pump. Now we have to introduce something called as Thomas cavitation factor. So Thomas cavitation factor is represented by sigma, and the value of sigma is given by sigma is equal to HSV. It is the HSV. HSV is nothing but the net positive suction head divided by the manometric head. That is your net positive suction head divided by your manometric head, and that is the equation for your Thomas cavitation factor. There's one more equation for this. This is given by the actual specific speed to the suction specific speed, the whole raised to 4/3. Sometimes in the question they'll be directly giving for suction the specific speed. Suction side the specific speed is this much, and the specific speed of the centrifugal pump is so much. So if that is given, you have to use this equation. Otherwise you have to use this equation, NPSH divided by gamma manometric head. We have seen how to find the value for NPSH. So this is how you find the Thomas cavitation factor, and how to check whether cavitation occurs or not. There's something called as critical Thomas cavitation factor, sigma C. Always remember, for cavitation not to occur, that means there's no cavitation. For no cavitation to occur, the actual value of sigma should be less than sigma C. So the favorable condition, we have seen that the suction lift HS should be less than HS limit, and similarly your sigma should be less than critical sigma C. So in the question they will be giving you what is the critical Thomas cavitation factor. You have to calculate the actual Thomas cavitation factor using either of these two equations and check whether it is less than the critical value. If it is less than critical value, there's no cavitation, and that is what we prefer. Then there's no problem for the functioning of the pump. So that is how it works.